Greetings, and welcome to this week's Burning Questions. Petrol, paraffin, diesel. All of these things are suitable if you wish to set fire to things. That's this week's Burning Questions. Thank you. We'll see you next week. Joining me this week is the tempestuous Tina. It works.
You get really weird with those words every week, though. Like,
it is a variable vocabulary.
Say that 5 times fast.
I have word of the day toilet paper.
Weird, it's all shit.
The tantalizing Tabby.
Hawoo.
The bollocks. Gracious groundhog.
Hey, you thought of the same word I did.
Hundreds and thousands never tasted so good.
The Nautilus Noscavian.
Thank you.
What's funny is now he has to think of another N-word. Not well. I didn't mean it like that.
Shiver
Don't
was
look at me like
totally
that, Shiv.
thinking naughtiest.
The Numpty Nitro Type Hat.
The numpty?
Someone might get that. So, Tavi, if you're
Hawoo to you.
willing, able, tell us what happened. Give us a summary of the last session.
I think I can attempt. We began last week on London is Burning with Isaac meeting with Clan Hekata to report how he had obtained permission from, or attained permission, promotion, whatever. Pandora agreed to help the Clan Hekata make their petition to the Camarilla to grant Elysium status to this haunted house that Isaac had previously sort of kind of half cleared out and probably left some kind of specter inside the pipes. During that engagement, we learned that more about Isaac's story with Clan Hekata and how about a woman named Annie. Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? We don't know. It sounds like she's very not okay. She was referred to by Clan Hekata as Isaac's vessel. What does that mean? I don't know. Do you guys know? I don't think any of us know. Yeah, we know Shiver knows.
Noscavian knows.
And Noscavian knows. There was talk of a sacrifice required, and that life requires life. Ooh, dark and spooky, foreboding things ahead for Isaac and Clan Hekata. Also, talk of Clan Hekata wanting the other clans to lower their guard so that they can gather information. The jihad thickens. Next, unless I missed something. That was about that, right, Isaac?
Yes, wonderfully done. Refreshed my memory for sure. Yeah.
Next.
I guess. Oh, sorry.
We'll get to you, Noscavian.
The next, I believe, we went from there to Elysium at a summons from Pandora, which she had sent earlier in the week, requiring the coteries' presence for an announcement. Also, Pandora gave us rather quite the important injunction against arriving early, as it might embarrass her. So we hopefully didn't do that. Then we were treated to a moment. The Ventru would-be Harpy, Black Rose, Childer of Vesh Griffin, appeared with Buren of Clan Tremere. And as Black Rose was about to try to make the announcement herself, she was told to fuck off and left Elysium in rather a bit of disgrace. That was entertaining for the coterie. There was much rejoicing. Then Buren of Clan Tremere announced that the Camarilla Tremere, which Buren represents, and the Anarch Epissimus Tremere are now at open war after the Anarch Tremere broke into the house of a Camarilla Tremere ghoul whom the Camarilla Tremere were experimenting on and caused that ghoul to take his own life. This, as you may recall,
Yeah, stupid
from
anarchs.
for those that don't recall from 2 weeks ago, this was actually the coterie following instructions and the lead from A1 Claret. This
Told you guys it was a bad idea.
This quashed the coterie's rejoicing as, yeah, that was interesting. Okay, so we now have open warfare between the Anarch and Camarilla Tremere and the coterie. Is it at fault? Probably. There was words with Pandora. Pandora, doesn't know anything about anyone creating any sort of story about, Anarch Tremere. She knows nothing about it. Funny. We could swear Xavier called her about it. Oh well,
Hello,
I'm sure that's
sweetheart.
fine. Anyway, Pandora also spoke, when asked about if she wished to know if Ixion, spoke rather interestingly of the cult of Mithras. She spoke of how Mithras has ears everywhere, for Mithras is a god, and one should not speak of things. Most interesting. Most interesting indeed. From there, the coterie had a brief argument over whether or not they should discuss their actions with regards to the ghoul Daniel Davis and in Elysium, and retreated to their coterie haven. At the coterie haven, they met with Mo, the Malkavian bartender. Mo reported on how he had obtained the address of Claret, the Tremere, who had previously had recruited the coterie to search for one Monique, and had sent them to the house of Daniel Davis, telling the tale that Daniel Davis was a dangerous vampire hunter who was a danger to the masquerade, and the coterie must do something. So the coterie did, and then Daniel Davis ended up dead, and now we have a war on our hands. He also reported that Claret had left town, and that he had learned through his network, presumably one would think the Malkavian Madness Network, that Monique is not real. Shocker! Not really. So, yeah, the coterie was had. Joy. And thirdly, Mo let us know that there was someone coming to talk to the coterie about the Church of Set and the ministry. The coterie then met with what was his name? Dr. Michael Benson, the
I'm glad you
Egyptologist.
remember his name.
I
Yeah,
wrote the
me
notes
too. I
down.
need to write that down now.
Dr. Michael Benson, who talked at length of many things that we had to take many notes on, that I still need to update the notes on, about the Church of Set and the ministry, and how they are establishing themselves again in Oxford, and how there's been a great enmity between the Church of Set, the ministry, and the cult of Mithras, which Dr. Michael Benson serves Vesh Griffin, pater of the cult of Mithras, and has done so for the last 100 years. Xavier, behind you. And so Dr. Michael Benson explained at length about the schism between the ministry and the cult of Mithras, which we endeavored to understand as best we could, and we're still trying to understand it. There was a lot of information dropped all at once. We'll have to go over that at length sometime. He also let us know that particularly Amon and Sidra, and I believe now Isaac, who have joined the cult of Mithras, would be arranged with a contact within the ministry who does not wish to see the ministry or the Church of Set breaking the masquerade, so that Amon, Isaac, and Sidra might, infiltrate and investigate this to hopefully find and prevent serious masquerade breaches, one would hope. Also, probably, he's hoping that they will fight for the cult of Mithras. We'll see about that. From there, after some discussion, the coterie went to the home of not so much home as previous residence of the Tremere Claret. There, they, after picking locks and breaking in, Found a new ghoul, Matthew Mavis. What is it with these ghouls' names and alliteration? It's almost as if the person naming them has a thing for alliteration. Anyway,
I can actually
use a
tell
name
you exactly
generator.
why.
Oh,
I thought you told me at one point that you do the alliteration because it helps you remember them easier.
Usually, if they're important characters, yes. But ghouls, who the fuck cares about mortals?
Matthew Mavis,
I
being
did.
the only occupant of the dilapidated house, which contained nothing but a lot of cobwebs, disused furniture, a bathroom, and just, general rotting wood, was there bemoaning the loss of Claret, who had skipped town and abandoned him. Matthew Mavis seemed to be a ghoul that Claret had been using, and who Matthew Mavis admitted to committing the murder of Mariah, who previously was found by the coterie, drowned in a river and stabbed, and the coterie had previously revived and spoken to after death.
No, she didn't
not
drown
revived.
because she had enough time to go Mithras. Bleh.
Mithras, bleh. So, however, I have no idea why Shiver is lifting his finger and then putting it down. He does that a lot. So anyway, through interrogation of Matthew Mavis, he admitted to a number of things. One, that he was a ghoul of Claret. Two, that she was highly abusive to them. This caused a number of different reactions from the coterie. Three, that she had used him to commit the murder of Mariah. And four, and perhaps most importantly, that Claret is a member of House Karna, a house of Tremere, and that Claret had talked about meeting her sisters in House Karna. And that House Karna was, actually really interested in the fact that there is now a war between the Anarch and Camarilla Tremere, who Matthew Mavis referred to the Camarilla as the Ivory Tower, which Kindred often do. And that, the House Karna intends to come out on top and pick up the pieces after the Anarch and Camarilla Tremere tear each other to shreds. Shocking. Not really. And then after further interrogation, Matthew Mavis finally had stated he had one more important thing to tell the coterie about Claret. And then his blood began to boil, and he screamed a lot, and then he exploded.
I was trying to time the can popping open for that.
Yes.
Damn it.
Nice sound effect timing. So, yeah, rest in peace, Matthew Mavis, or more appropriately, rest in thousands of little pieces all over the wall. That was most unfortunate. So,
Yeah,
after,
I was at the epicenter.
After three of the coterie members took the time to clean the blood off in a shower, two of the other coterie members were lucky enough not to be caught in the blast. The coterie retreated to their coterie haven for further discussion, and after some argument, oh wait a minute, there was one more important thing that happened before we left the house. Xavier got a call from his contact in the police with regards to Amon's family. If I recall rightly, Amon's daughter has been possibly kidnapped. At any rate, she's missing. We don't know. She's
What
missing.
daughter?
Yeah, Amon's like, what daughter? For those that don't remember, Amon does not remember his daughter because the La Sombra Seneschal that we kind of killed by the name of Coronam, played by the
illustrious heiress.
The illustrious heiress. Thank you, Amon. Thank you, Nitro.
That doesn't begin with E. The erotic heiress.
I wasn't going to go there. But since you did, we'll go with that. Shiver did
Canadians,
it.
I have a thing for Canadians, I'm sorry. Hi, Vancouver.
He's right, you know.
Quite the specific kink. Any rate.
They're lovely people.
This is true. Coronam had, in the course of that fight, erased the memory of Amon's daughter. So when Xavier went to report this information to Amon, Amon was like, what? I don't have a daughter. Oh dear. This makes things rather complicated. So Amon and Xavier had a conversation about this before the coterie returned to the Coterie Haven to discuss what they had found at Clarette's house, which was only the ghoul Matthew Mavis. Clarette was using the place as a crash pad. There was nothing else there. What else did we discuss on the... And then mostly from there, the coterie discussed whether or not to share any of this information with the Camarilla Tremere with regards to House Karna and how they seem to have, very possibly, intentionally started the war between the Camarilla and Anarch Tremere so that House Karna can become the dominant Tremere clan. I mean, what kind of kindred would do something like turn two factions of their own clan against each other so that they could rule their clan? I mean, yeah, pretty much every kindred. And I believe we ended shortly after that.
Jesus. I write some
I mean,
good
he's
shit,
not here,
you know?
but you should totally invite him sometime, Shiver, because I hear he brews a great vintage, and we could use a few glasses.
I hear he's good with his wood.
I do have to admit, I really enjoy the fact that we're getting really, at least in I think I am. I don't know about everybody else because I can't speak for everybody else. But I'm enjoying the fact that I could just shrug off the fact that this man just exploded. Because you were like, he begins to bubble and boil and scream, and then explodes. And my first thought is, oh, he's all over me.
Yep. Yeah, I
Yep.
think pretty much the three of us in that room were just like, well, that's unfortunate. Gotta go.
Yeah.
There are movies they do over here in Japan that have a similar plot premise.
Oh, no.
So, now that we've all been refreshed of what happened in the last game,
I
Jesus
forgot what
God,
happened
did
in
I
the
write
game.
that? Wow. Tina, the tentative Tina. Thoughts, highlights, last game.
Thoughts. keep Xavier has his own shit to worry about. Now you keep throwing him into more shit. That poor character gets picked on the most. Yeah, I have no. This thing with the mom. This is gonna be interesting.
It's because you're the anarch.
It's because you respond the best to these things. So
Yeah,
I'm like,
sure,
I'm going to
yeah.
fuck with you more.
Yeah, like immediately he's just like, fucker, what happened to you?
That reminds me, the thing we've been talking about for Xavier.
Which one?
The most
big one, the
recent,
small one?
the most recent thing that's he hasn't told anyone about yet.
Okay.
It's really fucking prominent now. It's red. It's possibly, it looks irritated.
What?
I love. Yeah.
If it were
got
the sun, you would have to do a frenzy check.
Next session, he goes up to Amon. Amon, does this look infected?
What? Again, what?
No. We'll just have to wait for that. I do like that little tease there, Shiver. Yeah. And this was not my idea, so I still don't know what's going on with this. I love it. Yeah, so there you go. Like, what the fuck? I've got this going on. I've got the I really wouldn't call it a boon from Lance, but kind of the boon from Lance to rescue this fucking massive figurehead. What?
I had an idea for that actually, but it's one of those shit. What was it?
Yeah, you should have wrote it down. Vancouver told you about this. So yeah, it was a little bit fun too last session to kind of stay back and let everybody kind of move forward. I'm gonna pick on some people real quick. I mean this lighthearted, but my favorite part of the session was when the guy talked about eating vomit, and the two ladies had to leave the room. And the first thing I thought of, and this is the first thing Xavier would have thought of too, regarding Ricky. You're okay with stuffing body parts in a trash can, but somebody talks about eating vomit and you lose your shit.
No, that wasn't what set Ricky off. Xavier, that wasn't what set Ricky off at all. Well, I mean, not not out of context. That wasn't what set Ricky off.
It's
Yeah,
fine.
that
In that
because
moment,
also at that
that's what it
moment, Rhapsody did her thing, and I think Rhapsody doing the red eyes tell me thing was what set Ricky off.
What was
Ricky
going
was
on?
like, "What?"
Okay,
it
so
was
if we're going to talk about what was Ricky being set off, I can explain that. Ricky's primary conviction as a sex worker, that she's still been doing that as her means of feeding, is that she believes in consent culture. She's been bending this a tiny bit with, she just, finds people that say they're okay with getting a hickey, and she doesn't tell them that she's also feeding on them. She's managed to find quite a few clients who find this rather enjoyable, and that's how she's been keeping fed. Specifically,
this is part of her convictions too, right?
This is one of her actual convictions with a mortal touchstone who may or may not come up at one point. That's up to Shiver knows who she is, and some things about her. Her touchstone is another fellow sex worker. What really started making Ricky angry was hearing how Clairette had treated and abused Matthew Mavis. Particularly, Matthew Mavis started talking about how Clairette had effectively used the blood bond to coerce Matthew Mavis into sexual acts. That's the red line with Ricky, because that is one of her actual hardline convictions, and that started getting her angry. The other things were just, icing on the cake of, in the context of, here is this woman who used the power of the blood bond to use this man for sex. And it was getting to as I started realizing, Ricky is more angry at Clairette than she was necessarily caring about Matthew, because especially after Matthew died, it's just like, well, he's dead. Oh well. But she still fucking hates Clairette. Because that's Ricky's line that you don't cross. And the reaction more with Rhapsody is Ricky is gradually developing her own feelings about the beast, and part of her feelings is she hates not being in control. And in the moment where Rhapsody's beast came out, she was kind of having a, let's not terrify the person we're trying to interrogate, and if I pull Rhapsody away, maybe Rhapsody will cool down and that will not be a problem. And then Rhapsody cooled down, and then he exploded.
Yeah, it's all right. If you guys were there and were the ones to ask him the next question, you would have been the ones that made him explode.
Yeah. So now that Ricky has explained all the things that Xavier doesn't know nor cares about, you ran out of the room when he talked about eating vomit, and he was like, "What the fuck?" That's my perspective. That was just one of those moments. He was just like, whatever.
Yeah, because when Ricky and Rhapsody left the room, they went out in the hallway and talked about what just happened. But all Xavier saw was, yeah, she made me eat vomit. And then Ricky was like, hold on, let's go out here.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm not going to dictate in game every second when Xavier's not paying attention. But, he was standing at the door. He wasn't up on things. He just was making sure things were going okay. Nobody was coming in, like blah, blah, blah. So that's just what he saw. And it was just humorous to me. From that perspective, that was just a thing that happened, because there's not a lot of that in game. Quite a few of us, some of us intentionally, try to have had our humanity lowered. So, we role play differently based on kind of how our characters would work. And so I'm the type of person, like, obviously, if my character is not going to know about it, I don't take notes on it, right? I may intentionally just not remember it because my character wouldn't. And it's a better way for me to respond when I can genuinely respond a certain way. So, yeah. But yeah, that whole situation, that's always fun when something goes awry that makes everybody just be like, it's nasty, but eh. And then, like, what do we do from here? I just leave it. Do we need to call somebody to clean it up? Like, not our business. We just need to get out of here.
It wouldn't if you look at the situation, it's not a masquerade breach. What is there to clear up? Apart from the sick, although he probably ate most of it. What?
So, yeah, every week I think I'm more excited about what's coming ahead than what happened. That's for everybody too. Like finding the stuff out about Isaac was really cool. I'm excited about his because the big thing about Isaac for me is, and maybe for other people too, the Extenisha. He's of a clan not many of us know about. It's not in V5, like and so it's just cool to hear a little bit of lore and with Isaac being so knowledgeable about VTM in general. It seems like that backstory there is probably going to be pretty awesome. A vessel.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with the backstory, and I'm looking forward to where the story is going to go.
Everyone remember he said that.
Yeah, yeah, I said the same thing.
And I thought it was kind of funny because when I came up with the backstory, I told Shiv, and Shiv immediately caught the the Michael Jackson reference because my just so you guys all know, she's my touch, right? And her name is Annabelle, and he calls her Annie for short. So he's like, I got to make sure Annie is okay. And Shiv's like, that's a Michael Jackson reference, and I'm like, yeah.
Anything in particular stood out for you, or should I move on, Tina?
No, you can move on. Yeah, I don't. No, for my character, the big thing was the very random elephant in the room of Lamont's child's missing. Like, what the fuck?
Because that's very much ties in with your character's conviction. No violence against children.
Don't expose children to violence. Yeah.
Groundhog, you've been sat there patiently, silently, well behaved. Thoughts, highlights last game.
Koshu doesn't know how to take a hint sometimes.
Wait, you mean
Don't get involved in the war?
Oh yeah.
Now, I know Shiver was giving us a hard time about this because he's like, 5 people tell you not to go join the war, but then 3 characters just go, oh, we're probably gonna have to join the war. No, that's not what we were getting at. We were getting at they said don't join the war, but because the doctor's part of our coterie, someone's probably gonna ask us to get involved. We're not gonna do anything until that person does that. But we have a feeling, because that's usually what happens. Whether it happens or not, okay, but either way, we're only getting involved if someone asks us to. We're not doing it voluntarily.
What else, Groundhog, if anything?
I mean, I enjoyed the opening. Black Rose getting shown her place, as always. Man, Matt Miser or Matthew Miser.
Yeah.
Keep going to say Matthew Musa, but it's not Matthew Musa. Matthew Mavis.
It was weird. It was Misa.
Oh, it was Misa.
Right. Because I kept looking at it like that's an interesting name. Sorry.
Anyway, he was such a whiny. Like, I can understand why he was whiny, but he was so whiny. Just a sad sack of shit, which was expected. But
do you know how hard it was to do that without breaking out laughing all the fucking time?
You were doing a great job.
You were doing a great job, but it was just It was hilarious and terrible and annoying at the same time, and it's great. Love it.
Amon the entire time was just sitting there going, I just want to end this guy's misery, but we need information from him.
Yeah, and he died right at the point where Pepsi was like, "You got to get rid of him." At this point, so
I like how you're thinking there.
is Rhapsody a spy against the coterie? Find out next time.
What was your favourite bit? Of
But
the
yeah,
last session,
those are
if
my
any?
things. Pardon?
What was your favourite bit of the last session? If you have any.
I don't really have a favourite, but
Hated
it was just all
got it.
real fun.
Okay. The Tangerine Tabby.
Ooh. Well, wait, my background is kind of tangerine, isn't it?
Oh yeah. There we go. I'm not entirely
Russian,
crazy
dude.
and obsessed with food. Highlights, thoughts last session.
Lots of fun things. Ricky got to do a lot of fun things. So like her and Rhapsody went to talk to Pandora while the rest of the coterie was discussing the announcement from Clan Tremere. And in that discussion with Pandora kind of telling them, hey, don't get involved in the war. And the other thing that happened at the end about Ixion and Pandora kind of dropping some interesting perspectives about the cult of Mithras. In there, Pandora dropped another bomb on Ricky, and it's all like, yeah, you actually seem competent. If you keep this up, you may one day have a place in the Ivory Tower. Or, if you fail me, we may just hang you out to dry with the Anarchs.
Now, do you think she's being entirely honest or just trying to manipulate you?
I have no fucking clue. Which is why, Rhapsody, later in the car, Ricky was looking to Rhapsody and going like, "I'm not sure how to feel about this." And Rhapsody is just like, "A person said something."
You were manipulated, though. If you leave a conversation feeling like, "Wait, what?" That usually means you were manipulated.
Yeah, and
It's
don't forget,
probably
Shiva said,
both.
yeah, remember
that would be
Shiv
my
said,
answer. Probably both.
Shiv's
But
mentioned multiple times that that Pandora's never been with a caitiff or a gangrel, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh
And
man, she must be
Pandora
super
is a thing.
excited.
But Rhapsody gave her a good answer, and a person just said a thing, and Ricky's like, "Yeah, okay, moving on. Not going to worry about that now."
It's all a part, right, of my secret plan. The whole reason we do VTM, the whole thing is just so at some point I have a legitimate excuse to have cyber sex with Ms. Hartz.
That is never going to happen. You guys have been
Doesn't
making
mean
these
he's
jokes
not
for
gonna
as long as
try.
I know you, and that never happens.
Our two VTM characters will have sex off screen before that happens.
That is also never going to happen.
No, that's wrong. Actually, we have
Wait, what?
had
Yeah,
this discussion that starts at
Yeah,
that.
Tina admits had that conversation.
Talking about Cedra. Never mind.
Our VTM character.
You're talking about Cedra.
Oh, yeah.
Ramona, I
Our
thought you were talking
VTM
about Ricky.
characters.
Does no one find Isaac attractive?
I mean, Ricky finds him very attractive, but she also doesn't like to mix. She doesn't like to mix what she does for a living with her other relationships.
She doesn't
How
like
much?
mixing work and friends.
Rhapsody wants off this love boat.
Exactly.
I'm just joking because Isaac's
The
80 years
Toreador
old.
said
I mean,
it.
come on.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, but
so like,
he's 80.
you notice like Ricky
What?
and Rhapsody are friends, but there's like no flirting there.
Yeah, it's like Amon and Cedra.
So that was the thing. there was the thing where it's like and it came up twice. That's like Ricky, heard this whole thing from Buren and then from Pandora of don't get involved in the war, and this was repeated multiple times. And Ricky doesn't. It's not so much that Ricky actually cares for the Camarilla, but mostly out of fear she doesn't want to piss them off. Mostly out of fear of the prince. Seems to be one would think that's a justifiable fear. The prince is fucking terrifying. So like Ricky actually had like an argument, like not really an argument, but she kind of told, and then it kind of became a thing between like Ricky and Xavier over Ricky's like, yeah, I think this thing with Claret, it might be another trap, but I'm going to go with the coterie, and that became like a whole thing. And then it kind of came up again where Ricky's like going, okay, I still don't want to get involved in the war, but I think this thing with House Karna is outside of the war, so let's deal with this. And that became a thing again, because Ricky's still like, yeah, I personally don't want to, like, she personally does not want to be in the war, because, well, also, she's like, yeah, war. Fledgling kindred go squish? In war?
Or
she was
worse,
like,
when it's Tremere.
Oh god, the fucking Tremere ruin everything.
You'd end up like Matthew.
And then yeah, Ricky got to have a lot of fun because she got to pull out her lockpicks and kind of drop just a tiny bit of her story about she used to live on the streets, and occasionally she broke into houses and stole stuff and sold it and then bought like food and things she needed. So she knows how to do that. And then Shiver, I don't know, like Shiver, were you actually remembering the conviction thing with Ricky when you put that whole thing together, or you just put that whole thing together? Put that whole thing.
No. I mean, I look at your convictions, I look at your flaws, and it's like, yeah, that's going to put an interesting twist on it. If I do this, I'll think of the situation, and it's like, well, can I change this situation a bit more to suit a reaction from a specific character or several characters? It's what you do, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. So Ricky ends up getting caught in trying to help with the interrogation of Matthew. We just got its last name right. I got it wrong. Something Matthew.
Yeah, just call him.
We'll stick with Matthew.
He's dead now. Yeah. He's not going to complain.
He's dead. No. He's dead, and he's resting in a million little pieces. That it was like, I was like explaining to her basically this whole thing, and at one point, like after she had withdrawn herself from the room because she was getting angry and she wanted to find Claret and bring her claws out and tear Claret limb from limb in a very satisfactory manner. And then like, I think it was like Matthew had sent something about you don't understand what I'm talking about, and Ricky having all the experiences she's had, living on the streets and being a sex worker, totally does understand from her experiences, which are not ones that I would go into, but it's kind of a part of her character that she does know what rape is. So she kind of went off on him and then was hoping, she could reach to him. And then he's like, oh, I just want her back. And she's like, oh, fuck this, and goes away. So there's a lot of
with the sexual side of it. It was very much if you want to interpret that as rape, you can certainly interpret that as rape,
right?
Or you can just, it was very much. I'll leave that as a breadcrumb there. If you want to pick it up, you can pick it up.
Right.
If you don't want to pick it up, then it works. If that makes sense.
And that Ricky would pick up.
With the whole concept of grueling and whatnot, that the morality of what Claret did really is debatable when you think about it. Because I mean, the question of like, when you're being grueled, what is consent?
Also, you have admitted that Ricky is pushing that button hard. Like, oh, I'm okay with a hickey. Not you sucking my blood, a hickey. So, yeah, it's a little bit contradictory, which I like. Yeah, exactly. But when I say that's contradictive, and the reason I like that is because it is literally somebody trying to grasp at what humanity they have, but that beast pulling harder. So you're saying you are now trying to, in your head, say, no, this is okay, right? And what that does is it falls continuously. I'm getting real framey. Until you ghoul somebody and have sex with them, right? So they are parallels. It's just at different stages of a kindred's life. Ultimately, you're so young, quote unquote, that you were
Shiver
doing
and
the
I-
exact same thing, just at a different fucking level, right?
Yeah, Shiver and I were literally just having a conversation yesterday about this with Amon's character and how Amon's doing stuff that before Amon would be like, no, that's terrible, and now Amon's like, no, yeah, that's just things we do.
And it also
You may not have seen that. We just all sit back. So
it also shows off a bit more of Clarette's character as House Kana, just using someone who's male as a tool.
Yeah, if anything, the only thing that really threw Amon off was the vomit thing, because he was going off, oh, she made me do all kinds of stuff, and I'm like, well, she Googled you, blah blah blah. It's she Googled you, that makes sense. I didn't say it was good or bad. I'm just saying she Googled you, makes sense. And then he was like, I ate vomit. I was like, oh.
Yeah, that's exceptionally twisted, but like it's not completely out of the realm. Not with what we've dealt with so far.
Yeah. That's why I didn't openly react to it.
We also did learn, as far as part of a lore drop, that House Karna, I think, is mostly women, if not all women.
It's all women. Mm-hmm.
So.
Also, I'm really curious.
I have out of game meta knowledge of House Karna, but that's because I keep, reading lore stuff and watching lore videos.
Are there any lore Are there any lore channels that you would particularly recommend, Tabby? Feel free.
Lore by Night is my personal favorite, my absolute favorite. Lore by Night is very nice in that the narrator plays the role of a 1,000-year-old Nosferatu scholar speaking to an unnamed neonate to educate them about kindred lore night after night. And occasionally we actually get little snippets about the character of the narrator too.
So what you're telling me is this channel is pretty much entirely just Isaac and Ricky's conversations.
Without Ricky ever being spoken. The neonate is unnamed and is never voiced because the neonate is effectively you the viewer are the neonate, or the listener. You are the neonate. That is your character. So it's like it is very much it is an in character podcast in which you the audience are the neonate that is being referred to as this young neonate who in the very first episode is just a fledgling who hasn't even had fed the first time yet. And it's got a link.
Please feel free to drop it.
I shall do a link. And my second favorite is the Primogen. Let's go link.
Just for the record as well, because you have such great meta knowledge, I thought it was a shame to waste that. We've decided that during the course of the week, in between the last session and the coming session, Ricky and Isaac have sat down, and Isaac is basically, so Kindred 101, Ricky.
So you end up seeing a lot of lore nerd Ricky. I was talking to you, but I need to change that on the sheet. That Ricky's ambition and desire may be evolving based on her initial ambitions were had to do with more just her being a new kindred and not really understanding the whole kindred thing. But she's gotten more interested as she's observed the beast in herself and then in her coterie in what is the beast and can we learn to maybe not completely suppress it, but be a bit more in control so the beast doesn't make as many decisions for us and we get to decide when to employ the beast? Is that even possible? Maybe not. But that's becoming more Ricky's ambition, that she wants to be she likes certain parts of being a kindred. She doesn't like when she's not in control. So she wants to learn more about the beast and how you can influence it, if that's even actually possible. It's probably not. And then Shiver's like, maybe. That gets into some really deep lore stuff, which Ricky's not aware of yet, even with discussions with Isaac. And then her desire is increasingly becoming more just to amass as much knowledge about kindred lore and history as she possibly can. So
A Gangrel scholar. Weird.
Yes, from Oxford.
From Oxford. Good point.
Yeah. So
I mean, who would write a character like that? I mean, I
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
I like
everybody,
what Vancouver by Night just said.
Yeah, I'm not so referred to.
Kindred 101 Part 2. You may find that your wedding tackle doesn't work anymore.
Oh, and the last thing highlight for Ricky was like at the very end, where it's like dawning on Ricky and me that putting 2 and 2 and 2 together and getting 6 or something like that, and realizing, oh wait, the whole thing of Claret started the war. And there being like an argument and discussion in the coterie of like, is that really what happened? And Ricky's like, that's totally what happened. Claret used us to start a war. And then skip town so that she would not be in town for the war. So that was kind of like the last highlight.
Nice. Very nice. The not unattractive Nitro.
Nitro's
Man,
a
just
chick
say, God
magnet.
damn.
What are you talking about?
God damn it, Traven. He just asked, could he put a link in chat, which was a link to the picture of Link from Zelda. And in such a Traven move, I just fell for it. What was your question?
Previous game. Highlights. Thoughts.
Highlights is Amon's getting to participate in the limelight suddenly again with the whole daughter thing. Like Tina said, I normally try and let things that don't pertain to me go in one ear and out the other, but I also don't fully ignore it because I just like seeing you guys roleplay, so it's fun. But whenever I get to be full on like Amon, like where he's deep in thought about, I have a kid, I have to go save this kid now. I didn't even know I had a kid because somehow I forgot I had a kid. I full on go into shutdown mode myself, and I don't even know what's going on. So that way, when someone's like, "Right, Amon," I can just full on go, "Huh? What were we talking about?" And it's not because I don't want to pay attention. It's because I want that genuine reaction of, huh, what? Sorry, wasn't paying attention. In character. Which I feel bad because it's fun. I feel bad because I don't like not paying attention to you guys, but it's fun because it's like a cheaty real way version of RPing.
That is absolutely the truth, though.
Right, yeah. It's like when your character's ignoring everybody, it's easiest just to ignore them in real life. But other than that, no, I did have a lot of fun when I was covered in bits when I had my little spark of inspiration where I was like, does the shower work? I go in the shower and I just get drenched and I'm like, how can I shake off water like a dog but in vampire form? And so I just go, I blink back to the group. I have fun thinking of interesting ways of using powers like that. I actually just gained some new powers last night because I finally spent some XP. And I was looking at upgrading my potence because I had enough to upgrade my potence. And I looked, and the obvious choice was brutal feed. And I was like, nah, I want something different because Xavier's got that. So I actually picked something different, and I'm super excited to use it because I feel like
Oh no!
I feel like
I openly said Xavier's going for that too. That's what's funny.
Oh no!
which one do you? Oh, there's like three level 3 potence things. I think there's 3.
Yeah,
So I
but
don't
you
know
went for
which
the
one.
one big thing that we just can't. We can't stay away from each other, Broja.
So let me guess, you're turning into Spider-Man too.
He's always been kind of Spider-Man. He's always been super quick. No, I'm not getting
that's
that.
fair.
No, I'm getting the other version of that level 5 this one. So
Oh, okay. That's celerity, not potence.
remember the comment about if you ignore people in game, you ignore people in real life? I wasn't paying attention. Sorry. That's not a good jackass.
Okay. No, you're fine. No, for potence, I got uncanny grip, which lets me climb walls now.
I've debated on that, but yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like I could get way more use out of this than I could for brutal feed. And so I just
paranoid.
Yeah, right. Well, there's no role for it.
Well, yeah, but you got paranoid before you even started sneaking.
True. All right, I gotta scope out the place. Oh fuck! I'm already found out.
Be extra stealthy.
Yeah. God,
Stop
that
playing
was so
the jazz
much fun
music
to
as I'm
roleplay.
going. God damn it.
That was probably some of my favorite role playing for in a while. Because like I said, paranoid Amon, I just get to turn the filter off and let all the brain rambling that I normally have going on in my head just diarrhea out of my mouth. And then Matthew eats it. But other than that, no, I can't think of any other.
What a weird button combo press. Sorry, it hung up and was calling somebody else.
That was weird.
Other than that, I can't really think of any other highlights. I mean, maybe Amon claiming the dartboard in the basement as his new personal target practice.
I was so tempted to make you roll for that, considering during our sessions there, you missed with a cushion.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Also, I gotta say, I don't know how often in other games where characters might just ad-lib what weapons they use in combat and whatnot, but I had like 3 XP left and I saw that specialties only cost 3. So I started going through the attributes or whatever the traits list in the book where they suggest specialties you can take.
Skills list.
I went to skill list, thank you. And so I looked under some of the ones I want to try and use a little bit more often, like stealth and whatnot. And then, of course, being a Mon, I looked at melee. And melee, you just take a specialty with a weapon. And it's like, we always use the same weapon all the time. So that's just a free extra die for every time you... And so it feels very cheaty, but I'm like, it's in the... So I took a specialty in swords. And it was cheaper than going up a dot in Melee. Way cheaper.
Fair.
It feels super cheesy, though.
But I mean,
I
you
mean,
go into it
combat's not
once.
the point of the game.
True. I know. Yeah, I know.
I think we all have specific skills, either now or later, that feel like auto win buttons. But just because we have them doesn't mean that he doesn't have them too. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now I just
I
look at your
seem-
sheet and go, well, that's too fucking easy for you. What can I do to fuck up your day? Celerity
Like
5. Okay.
Yeah, and like we faced it, you know, technically with the Seneschal.
By the way,
You
just
Exactly.
real
literally
quick,
just wiped your
Nuss,
memory without trying. So I mean, yeah.
and I kind of lucked out because I decided to re-roll against him because his first roll, he was going to wipe my memory of my family, period. And then I re-rolled, and he only had one success over me instead of two. Which I liked better because of the fact that he re-rolled. Because I didn't want nothing to happen, but I didn't want him to do everything he could against me, kind of thing. But can I, real quick, because I know Nuskavian wants to say something, I just want to mention that under the Brawl skill, you can get a specialty for brawling with werewolves. And I just want to know why anybody would want to go take a fist fight to a werewolf.
Have you heard the
Mine
story
did
of
it.
Mithras?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I could,
Yeah,
yeah.
I feel like everybody in VTM, though, is never going to be powerful enough to do that and come out unscathed like Mithras probably did.
They're not gonna go toe to toe, but obviously, ideally, you don't want to fight a werewolf toe to toe, anyways. But if you're gonna have to, you're gonna be in brawl range at some point. So there would be people out there. I would assume, like for example, being Broja, Theo Bell would be. I'm just gonna do that forever. But like Theo Bell is somebody that may want to go into that because he's used to fighting. You know, he understands. He's been around for a fucking while. So if I have to do this, I want to make sure I do it well. So yeah, that would be why. I mean,
First of all, Vancouver by Night said, who would get into a fist fight with a werewolf? Have you met the Malkavians? He's right, you know.
It's like a,
I don't think
A
Halo really
chihuahua.
wanted a fist fight, though.
I can actually think of one group that I'm not sure if we'll ever run into. I don't think we'll ever run into that might take that specialty, and that would be the Valkyries.
I don't think they exist in V5, do they? I don't think
They might
there's any
not.
bloodlines, really.
Well, I mean, they're not even so much a bloodline as just an order dedicated to the Methuselah Odin.
oh yeah. That's right.
And they want to see Odin revived. And they have a long-standing feud with the Git of Fenris werewolves. So that's why I was thinking they might be a group that some of them may have that specialty. Because they're Gangrel who fight the Git of Fenris werewolves specifically.
Yeah, because Gangrel, their claws count as brawl, not melee.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess that makes sense.
For the record, Mithras woke up from torpor and fought and won against a pack of werewolves.
He is a
Unfortunately, it
god.
did hurt him, and he was then diablerized, but we don't talk about that bit.
No, it's
Just
just like. Good.
It just means he's gonna wake up with a new body in a little bit. That's all.
My confusion just entirely stems from the fact that it's like I know that you're never going to willfully walk into a fight with a werewolf, but I feel like if a werewolf attacks you, you'd probably more likely draw your weapon on it because it's going to do more than just go, I'm going to punch it. Except
Roll
for
up a
in
newspaper,
Gangren's
hit its
case.
nose. Down, boy. Down.
Yeah,
Lupine.
not the mama. Sorry, wrong thing.
Noskavian. The
Yes.
Neptune worshipping Noskavian.
All right.
I thought Isaac joined the cult of Mithras, not the cult of Neptune.
She's right, you know.
Before I get to my highlights, Amon, I think having you forget just your daughter instead of your daughter and wife is going to be a lot better for like
Yeah.
role playing reasons too. Because if you forgot them both and like your wife shows up, you're like, who is this crazy lady talking to me? Why is she saying I have a kid? Like,
Why
I've
is she
never
so
met
fucking angry?
Yeah, this way, you know she's your wife. You know she's
Don't
furious with you, and she keeps talking about your kid that you don't know you have.
Yeah, don't even get me started. Like I was talking to Shiv yesterday because he's setting stuff up for the whole missing kid thing. So he was asking me questions, and he's like, oh, knowing you though, you've probably already thought of a way to avoid her because you don't like talking to her. I was like, no, actually, as much as I don't like talking to her, I've been thinking of a way to make Amon's story a little bit more interesting than no talk to her like she's scary. Um and I'm like, and it's all a really good theory in my head. But God, Shiver, you were just so good at playing a Karen that it just shuts down as soon as I get into the conversation. It just shuts me down, and I'm just like, I don't.
You know, they say all your characters you make in TTRPGs are a little bit of yourself.
I've
That
had a
was one
lot
of
of
the reasons
experiences
why-
with Karens.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why
Is
we
that
like
what you're
Harry
going
so
with?
much.
Okay.
That's why we liked
My
Harry so
rice
much.
is
Is 'cause
undercooked. Let me speak to your
'Cause-
manager.
Shiv got so into playing Harry. That was one of the reasons why we loved him.
Shiver
I
hated
hate
that
Harry.
Yeah, but you got so into the character.
Mostly probably because of the accent.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
his excitability. Sorry, not skipping.
Oh, you're good. You're good. So I guess starting off from the top, I was. It was nice to be able to kind of share a little bit more of my backstory. That was nice. I name dropped her. That was fun. Let's see.
And we now
what
know that
else.
she might not be okay.
Exactly. She's not okay, and she needs saving. Let's see what else. Yes, the big reveal that Monique, oh sorry, Claudette fled town. Monique is not real, and it's clearly obvious that House Carne is setting up a war between the other two Tremere factions. I'm really looking forward to next session because hopefully we'll get to maybe try to warn the Tremere that hey, you guys are being set up. Who knows? Maybe they won't listen to us. I don't know, but we'll have to see. But yeah, I mean it's definitely happening. Like absolutely, Karna is setting them up for a war. And it occurs to me that, generally speaking, the Vintru and Mithrians both really hate Tremere. So maybe there's some sort of connection with those murders too. But I don't know. That's just grasping at
Yeah.
straws.
In fairness, though, who doesn't hate the Tremere?
It's true, there are the usurpers.
Even the Tremere hate the Tremere, as we've established.
I feel so bad that we talk so much shit about the Tremere, but because like as a character, I love the Doctor.
Oh yeah.
But do you feel bad?
Only a little
like,
bit, because like he's the Tremere of the group, and we're all like, oh, fucking Tremeres, dude.
It's his own fault. Because not only did
It's-
he want to play fucking Tremere, he does it well. It's his own fault.
You've
Yeah,
got
like-
a point.
I like the Doctor, and I will say in V5 I like the Tremere more than ever, just because I feel like you get more freedom with your character with that pyramid structure being broken. But as a clan, I think even from the Dark Ages, Tremere should have been lower than a low clan because they're an artificial clan. Uh, yeah. Like it's last session's really setting a lot of stuff up, bringing a lot of strings together. Another big highlight: the last two sessions, we've had some social. Yeah, we had social conflict last session, right? Or not?
Yep.
I think so. Yeah.
A little bit.
Matthew.
Oh yeah. A little bit with
There was
Matthew.
a lot of social conflict rolling with Matthew.
Yeah.
There was a little
So
bit with Pandora.
We've been getting some more social conflict. The
Wasn't
last
social conflict.
the last
I thought-
actually 2 or 3 sessions, which is really nice. I know like Rhapsody's been knocking it out of the park with her roles for that stuff, which is nice.
She's such a relatively new character, and then she's like, she was like, "Yeah, roll this for me," and I'm like, "Oh man, I like to see this because none of us are good at." She has how many die?
It's like Isaac with investigation.
Mm-hmm.
You wait until you see if the prince ever rolls anything.
Oh fuck.
Ooh,
Yeah.
don't lie to the prince.
I mean, we already saw the Seneschal. The Seneschal had tons of die as well.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. I think that's about it. Did I miss anything?
Well, the
I
Matthew
really
Ghoul.
enjoyed the session.
Okay, the Matthew Ghoul was struck by. He was hit by a smooth Kana operative.
Oh yeah.
Very smooth operative.
I mean that
I
whole
wouldn't say
discussion.
smooth.
It was a bloody mess, guys.
Storm, ask your question, please. If anyone has any questions, please just throw them in. I'll pick them up.
The show
you're
is
not-
called Burning Questions.
You're
Oh,
not
yeah, for
interrupting
sure.
if you type in chat, by the way. You're okay.
You're incredibly nice to be so polite.
Yeah, that's extremely polite. But
Yes.
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 There is an animalism power though, where
Mm.
instead of turning into an, because I was looking at maybe upgrading my animalism last night, but none of the powers I'm interested in are until like level 4 and 5. But there's like a level 3 animalism thing where you can roll to possess an animal.
Mm.
And that animal can go out in the daylight. You have to run, or you have to make a frenzy check if you see the sun, even though it won't do any damage to the animal. You're still terrified of it, and you still have to follow the rules of staying awake during the daytime. Because even though your body's unmoving and technically in a torpor-like state, you're still awake. So
Yeah. There's a similar amalgam between I think it's Dominate and Osbucks that will allow you to possess a mortal, so like a ghoul or a human. And you could do the same thing, but again, you saw those same restrictions where if you're trying to do that during the day, you've got to, I guess, wear your flesh costume around while still dealing with staying up, which I believe in V5, staying awake during the day is way more difficult than it used to be. It's
Yes.
very
because
difficult.
V20 made it so if you had a high enough willpower, you could basically like, fuck it today. I don't give a shit. I'm just going to burn my willpower instead of my skin.
I'm gonna just research on the internet, on the dark web, StrekNet all night or all day long. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, any questions, just feel free, keep lobbing them in. What was it? Oh, bollocks, I had one. Right, yes. Let's ask a slightly different question than I normally do for now. Groundhog. The Gazpacho groundhog.
You've seen that one before, I think.
Bollocks!
It's tasty
The-
stuff. You Shiver,
Yeah.
have you eaten?
No, never had it.
This is why the food jokes.
The groundbreaking groundhog. Where do you feel
See, 'cause
the
that's what
story
groundhogs
is at the
do.
moment, and where do you think it's going to go from here?
I don't think the Tremere are going to necessarily change what they're going to do when it comes to the war. Even if it comes out that it was Kana influencing the situation, they're still going to want to, kill the Anarch Tremere. The Anarch Tremere are still wanting to get at the what's it called? The Camarilla Tremere. So I think the war's just going to continue to a certain extent, even if they know. It's probably not going to go well for either side, but oh well. It's the Tremere. I have no idea what's going on with Xavier's storyline. I really don't care, but
Xavier's is going to be a great one.
Amon's family conundrum. I don't know where that's going either.
I don't either because, Shiv, you told me essentially that it's not considered my storyline. My family's just involved. Mm-hmm. Which gives me an idea of whose storyline it is, but I'm not gonna guess because I'm usually wrong.
Storm asked, do Gangrel normally have a being that they have around during the day to effectively guard their sleep, as it were?
They certainly.
Go ahead, Isaac.
Oh, they certainly can. Most of the time, when vampires want some sort of daytime guard, they get a ghoul, which because of the blood bond, the ghoul's like completely loyal to them, and the ghoul does not have to be a human. It can be a human. It can be an animal. So you could have a ghoul human and ask them to watch you during the day, or you could have like a ghoul cat or a ghoul dog or wolf or bear or whatever you want, really.
Or groundhog.
Or a groundhog.
Or turtle.
Or
That's
meerkat.
top of the list. Or a turtle, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I know that ghouling things gives them a little bit of vampiric, like, oomph to their normal mortal powers and whatnot. It's like a hellhound is scarier than a regular guard dog. I want to know what a Gould snapping turtle is capable of, because I didn't get it because I think it would be effective. But I'm kind of curious on how effective it is.
Question: if your turtle was to try to wake you up and alarm you, what sound would it make?
Oh no, I was about to say, have you ever seen that video of the two turtles having sex? Where the one's just going,
One.
ah, ah.
Oh, not that one.
Could you imagine like a Gould parrot or something when someone knocks at the door and the parrot's just like, go away, go away.
No vampires here.
There's one more thing for Storm's question that I can think of.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly Gangrel and also the Nosferatu, and I forget which other clans that actually still are around in V5. They get access to the animalism discipline as their clan disciplines. They tend to employ rather frequently. One of the most basic powers of that is Animal Familius, which is kind of like an enhanced version of having an animal ghoul. You can only have one Animal Familius, and there's a bunch of bonuses involved. And there's like other animal powers, like Feral Whispers for communicating with animals that is free to use with your Familius, but it can cost like some of your blood to use with other animals. It's easier to you can actually command your Animal Familius more easily than, say, you could use your other animalism powers to try to persuade other animals. If it's your Familius, you can just tell it to do whatever. And
Does it
then
work
just
on cats?
yes,
That's not
It-
very
it-
realistic, is it?
it's
The
a blood
book
bond.
example is specifically a cat.
Oh yes, it is.
hmm
But yeah, it's just a slightly enhanced version of creating a ghoul that I think like the main bonuses is Nosferatu or Gangrel can have more of a relationship and communication with their familius. There's also a really creepy power down the end of that line that may make
Yeah, I was
people
about to bring
think,
this up. hmm
which is called animal. Well, it's animal
It's called
succulence.
like. Oh, that's not what I thought. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it's animal succulence. Well, the primary point to animal succulence is a kindred who's mastered it can gain more nourishment from animal blood and also can still gain nourishment from animal blood up to, I believe it's like, as if their blood potency was 2 dots lower than it actually is. As the
Yep.
vampires get more potent, they can't. They're no
Mhm.
longer satisfied with weaker blood, like animal blood.
Yeah, you're counted as 2 dots of potence lower
Mm.
when it concerns drinking from animal. No, the one I thought you were going to bring up was I think it's called Undead Hive or something like that.
Oh no!
Wh-
I was going to get
um,
into how animal succulence. One of the other abilities is that if you eat your own animal familius, you get a bunch of bonuses. So
Oh.
it's like so you can have basically this animal familiar that's kind of your pet and everything, and then the game actually gives you a whole bunch of bonuses. Like you can get bonuses to stats for eating your own familius, and you get
and mine
Hmm?
normally this power only works on vertebrates. Like so whatever you know what that means. And then you can get Undead Hive, which
Mhm.
gives you the ability to do it with non-vertebrate animals. And so you could literally command a hive of roaches, locusts, mosquitoes, this and that. And with that power,
Everything you just
could,
named sounds like something Isaac would do.
yeah. I've actually thought it was a really cool power. But you can actually familiarize the entire hive.
Which is really scary because it's popular with the Nosferatu, and one of the other things you can do with various animals and powers is you can listen and perceive through the senses of your ghouled animal familiars. And when Nosferatu can literally just ghoul a bunch of bugs and then perceive what the bugs are perceiving. Yeah, the Nosferatu quite literally have eyes and ears everywhere, and they
It's
do so by planting literal bugs.
it's funny you mentioned that Noscavian because it literally says that the hive, because it's mostly popular with Nosferatu, the hive will store themselves in the folds of clothing and flesh on your body when they're not in use.
That sounds pretty cool.
Mhm.
What do you see in the immediate future for Rhapsody, Groundhog? Where do you see her going at the moment?
I don't really know. I need to figure that out.
Okay. Tina, the
Tenacious.
done that one. The tabletop
Temperamental.
Tina. Bollocks! I forgot the fucking question. What do you see happening in the near immediate future concerning Xavier?
Depends if Ron Chi gets back to me.
Yeah. Where do you think Xavier stands on the Tremere War? Is he just like a fuck 'em, not my problem?
Yes. Yes, mainly yes, because Tremere Anarch, like I give no fucks about them. They do their own thing, right? So if you want to get involved with the Camarilla, fucking great. Like I said before, like I think maybe it was last week or it was during the game. I was like, Xavier's annoyed, and it was because like the doctor has now gone and did something. It doesn't matter if it was good or bad. He still did something. We don't know about it. Now he's fucking gone again. And let's be completely honest here. We either help fund him, or we don't. If we do, we're fucked. If we don't, the Chimera are probably going to come back and be like, how dare you not help our brethren who has helped you so much? They'll try to spin it some fucking way where we fucked up. So that's kind of where Xavier's at. He's just like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, it's so Tremere of them.
And he's just going to stand on the side that he's going to help a member of his coterie. I mean, that's just the way it is. I know not everybody has that same belief. I know Cedra and Amon will, but that's just kind of at the base of the war. He doesn't care. Just he would stay away from it if he could, but the doctor. And he will try everything he can not to get involved. Like if we go give information and they're like, "Hey, you should go do this," and it's like, "Nah. You have information now. You go do it." He'll try that. If it works, great. If not, crap.
Fair. What do you see in the immediate future for Xavier? Where do you see his character going right now?
That also depends on what Steve finds out. If there's any more that comes out about Amon's child. But yeah, there's the big feeler about the big thing with Ranchi. There's the whole thing that transpired with Amon's child. Like he's so caught up in that stuff, especially the child thing now, that he's so over the ripper. He's like, there's bigger stuff out there right now. For him, he's a lone anarch. He doesn't follow under the hive mind. So yeah. But now he has this other irritated thing. Got to get that checked out.
Thing?
Yeah, at the beginning.
Soon, TM.
Soon, TM. Oh, I haven't not heard that meme in so fucking long. God damn it.
What have I got in my room that begins with that letter? The nothing nitro typat. I'll think of another one in a minute.
My brain just blanked because I had to react to that the way I did. No, I'm kind of in the same boat as Tina or as Xavier, I guess. Where it's kind of like, I mean, yeah, I kind of care about the doctor or whatever, but I don't really want to get involved if I don't have to, because they already told us not to. So it's like, I'm not going to go out of my way to get involved. Like I said, I have a feeling that we're going to, I didn't even think about it the way Tina just mentioned, where if we do or we don't, we're screwed. I just kind of had the thought of like the Tremere coming to us and be like, well, we don't know how to deal with this, and he's your coterie member, but our brother, we need your help, blah, 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 blah. And so that's kind of how I thought it was going to go. But that's just a, I fucking Tremere, that's how they operate kind of thing. Other than that, I'm excited to see what their reaction to the info that we're going to deliver them, which is like the whole, the House Karna thing. So I'm kind of curious on if they're going to be like, well, we don't care about House Karna because it's the freaking Anarch Tremere that's our problem right now. I don't care who started it. It's the Anarch Tremere that blah, blah, blah. So depending on how the coterie feels, we'll probably be able to go after Claudette, because I feel like we kind of want to go get a little bit of revenge for being used. Did I say Claudette? I don't know why I keep saying Claudette.
Everybody
Claudette.
keeps saying something different. It's funny. Even
And
Shiver.
like I said, I was always the one that got the name right in the first place, so I don't know why I'm messing up now. And not you too, Groundhog. All these insulting words. Anyway, yeah. So I'm pretty sure that that the coterie is going to be like, so we're going to go kill Clarette because she did us dirty. um. Other than that, like I said, I'm only going to go after the doctor if someone asks me to. But I have a feeling that if Cedra was around, I'd kind of have to be pulling her back a little bit because she'd be like, we got to go after the doctor. He's one of us, this and that, because that's a very Cedra thing to do. Whereas Ahmad's like, I get it, but we can't. They specifically told us not to because it's a bad idea. Yeah.
And where do you see Armand going at this point? What's in store for Armand, then, do you think?
A domestic argument.
Fair. Fair. And only because I've thought of another N-word that no one else has said yet, I'm going to go to Noscavian. The nutritious
you, kitten.
Noscavian.
Or Storm.
Oh,
You need
I think probably the three biggest concerns for Isaac would be first and foremost making sure Annie is okay. Secondly, that the Tremere War and wanting to make Cloretta debt pay for what she did to everybody. And using us like that. It's one thing to be used as a cat's paw for your coterie or your faction. It's another thing to be used as a cat's paw for essentially an enemy faction. Like, that's not cool. She's got to pay for that.
I mean, I like how you all want to go after her, but you haven't got the foggiest idea how to start that.
Oh, I know.
No, it's fair.
It's something we'd like, but before any of that could even be attempted, we have to address the issue in front of us, which is the Tremere War.
You say we so relaxed.
I mean, he's right.
I'm sorry. Xavier has to address the issue in front of Xavier, which is
I'm just saying, like, it really hasn't been brought up, but I wonder seriously, based on everything going on, if that's at the top of everybody's priority list. I know we probably all be like, yeah, but Xavier especially, and I know some Cedra probably would too, and maybe even Amon. Like, how?
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, even if it's something like we can't stop, we could at least try to inform people, and then
I'm with you. She made the list.
Yeah, she made the list. We have an actionable thing where we can basically try to share some information to hopefully advise them to make a decision. But honestly, that conflict is out of our control. Like, we aren't going to be able to really swing that one way or the other. All we can do is inform them of what we know she did. But then as far as my third thing, which is also probably one of the two things, or the one thing the coterie at least has the most influence over, would be the Ripper. If we end up getting more information or actually finding the Ripper, that's something the coterie can actually deal with.
What do you see in store in the near future for Isaac?
In the near future for Isaac, I'm hoping he can save his wife. That would be good. Maybe it'd be interesting if the coterie could meet her. Maybe they'll really like her. Who knows? And also, it would be nice to actually figure out what the Ripper is, because that has been I don't know. It's I feel like I've guessed everything I can think of what it is, but I don't know. I want to know. I want to figure it out.
Yeah. The trapeze artist Tavi.
Oh.
Bollocks, I've forgotten the question again.
Shiver, you made that joke because you know I'm about as mobile as Nitro, and Nitro can kick down doors and I can't.
At least you can stand.
She's right, you know. He's
He's
right, you know.
Right?
Eventually.
He didn't
With
say
that-
well or not well, but you can.
Yeah,
That's the point. You can.
true.
Is it
Yeah.
really standing if you're on 3 legs?
It's more than
Sometimes
Nitro's
even
got.
that doesn't work, and I just end up on the floor. There have been nights after our group game that I like get up out of the chair and I'm using the cane, and then I'm on the floor and I'm like, "This is a nice floor. It's nice and cool." Anyway,
You just failed your athletics and dexterity check, that's all.
This must be what it feels like to be Isaac.
so future what I see for the coterie.
Well, with what's going on currently with the Tremere War and all these sort of things, how do you think Ricky feels about it all at the moment?
Well, for starters, Ricky doesn't want to get the fuck in the war, the actual war, because, well, one, war bad, fledgling kindred go squish. She's still terrified of, stronger kindred because she's met Kornam. That was fucking terrifying. She's met the prince. Also fucking terrifying. She kind of has just a gist from Elysium that, yeah, there's a lot of kindred around that are fucking terrifying. This is an ongoing theme with kindred for some reason. I don't know. Maybe some dark god just thought he should punish somebody for something and just decided to unleash monsters on the world for all eternity or something. I don't know.
I mean, that wasn't even a dark god. That's just God. Cain.
I mean, same difference. Anyway.
Fair.
Cytra's like, do you fucks with the war? No, you don't. But yeah, that she'd kind of rather leave the Tremere to the Tremere. As we bring in more of Ricky picking up more just general known known knowledge about kindred is the existence or the previous existence of, at least, of gargoyles and how they were made in that, or probably not.
The existence, yes. The method of being made, not too much well known. It's more like a dirty secret.
So she wouldn't necessarily know all the
dirty
horrible
secrets.
things. The Tremere have so many dirty secrets. So she would not know the some of the ways the Tremere have perceived and particularly abused the Gangrel clan.
Definitely the way that they have been perceived. Possibly not the direct, at least not all of the.
Okay, but she just knows everybody thinks of her as a feral animal. Okay, so that's not going to come up. But yeah, the Tremere are a bunch of elitist snobs anyway, and they seem to be playing all their games within games. There is also that Pandora seems to be playing games as well. That'll be something later, I think. Pandora doesn't want them in the war. Buren doesn't want anybody in the war. The Pandora and the Tremere are like, yeah, we're gonna find the Doctor, and well, they're the Doctor's clan, so hopefully that's true. And she and the coterie don't have any idea where to start looking for the Doctor anyway. Short of, just barging into Epicinus Tremere territory, which, did they ever visit there without or with the Doctor, or only the Doctor went there?
No, I was there. Me and Noscavian.
Okay, so the coterie knows where that is.
Yeah.
But but that's a building full of Epismus Tremere with, a watchman of sorts on the top floor.
It's not, from what we've seen, it's not really full. It's
But-
the door person at the front desk, and then Mordecai in the basement.
Oh, so it might only be 2 there.
Maybe.
That sounds like a vulnerable target. Not that I'm suggesting anything. Maybe, but yeah, it's like maybe, but it's like they have to know that people outside of the Epismus Tremere are aware of that building. And then the war started, so the situation there's probably changed by now anyway. But yeah, she's not a fan of, and also she just hates that the coterie got completely dragged along by Claret, and like the last time they got involved with Tremere, they got used, and she just doesn't want to get used for somebody's game again. But then at the same time, yeah, she does care about the doctor. She doesn't know what to do about it, because like the doctor was the first one to ever give her blood when she didn't know she needed it yet. That's like a long ago thing. That's just kind of in the back of Ricky's mind. And the one thing that they can do, which may or may not be a good idea, is share this tidbit about House Karna with the Camarilla Tremere and see how that goes, which may or may not be a horrible idea. We'll find out.
We will.
It may be an absolutely terrible idea. It may be playing into someone's hands again. Who knows? It may be playing something that some other kindred would take a lot of offense to. I've had some thoughts about that too. Mostly I realized Pandora. Since Pandora made that, was most likely the one who spun the whole, hey, the Anarch Tremere totally did this tale. Unless somebody else did, which I doubt. I think Pandora hates the Tremere's guts enough to want to see them all kill each other while she sits back and laughs. Not because she has any particular motive, just because I think she would find it entertaining.
Fair.
That seems to be kind of Pandora's thing. She likes stirring a little bit of shit and then just sitting back and laughing. She does that to the coterie a little bit too, and then the coterie plays into it, and it's amusing. She was just going, yep.
She's so right. She's so right,
So mostly we were just asking like where I think. So yeah, I think they're going to get dragged a little bit into things, whether they want to be involved in the war or not, as kind of an aside. I think we're going to see more about the war. We're going to see more about House Karna, and all kinds of stuff there.
Yeah, that's good. Has anyone got any new thoughts about what or who they think the Ripper might or might not be?
It's Xavier. Next question.
That's why he's not concerned about it. It is him. No, I from the little teases that you keep giving us
You've never
about
seen it the
when
same way.
yeah, she's right, where you've been giving us little teases of like what's coming up and blah 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 blah. You've kind of alluded that it's almost like it's a creature of some kind. So, other than that, I have no idea. Because as much as Amon would disagree, we've already marked it off that it's not a werewolf.
Are vampires creatures?
Yeah.
In the strictest sense of the word. Wait a
but
minute.
not in the way that.
Technically, right is the best kind of right.
I know,
Just
but
saying.
with the way Shiver words things, I get where you're going, but I don't think it. No.
Well, this week, the Ripper is going to be within a few inches of you all.
We are all
Cool.
dead. Okay, I'll work on
We've
the
already
character
all
sheet.
been dead.
In this
Tammy.
upcoming session,
Mm-hmm.
Everybody get your secondary characters prepped.
Upcoming session, we have a special guest. Yeah, yes, Noscavian.
Is the Ripper Pandora?
No.
Dang.
So wait, you're telling me that we're going to meet a cyborg werewolf that was designed and built by the Second Inquisition?
Oh god, somebody was just telling me. I was talking to, and I said I was in a Vampire the Masquerade game now. Someone was telling me she had previously played Vampire the Masquerade, and her storyteller had actually set them against cybernetic werewolves, and she could never figure out why.
Because why
I know
not?
What the fuck?
Probably because
See if it's
that
different.
story. Probably
Look,
because that storyteller was implementing other World of Darkness books, so they were like, "Well, let's do some like mage technocracy stuff and some werewolf stuff. Just mash them together for the scariest enemy I could throw at a vampire."
I just think it
When
was
Noscavian-
Nitro. He's just got a key for mechs.
No, when
And
Noscavian
werewolves.
brought up a long time ago, the crazy idea of it being a cybernetic werewolf, I laughed at the ridiculousness of it, but the fact that it was coming from Noscavian with the knowledge that he has, I never thought it was improbable for it to exist in the world of darkness.
Oh wait, Shiver. I got an
Tell
idea
me,
of what
tell
the
me.
Ripper is.
Yes.
The Ripper is a vampiric Dalek.
Shit, that's very good.
Exterminate.
No, not exterminate. Exsanguinate. Exsanguinate. And the joke is horrible.
Okay, so I'm going to do some rewrites.
Oh man, it can feed with its little plunger hand.
I was going to say, in the previous murder sites, you've randomly found plungers.
Or like plunger shaped wounds.
At one of them, you found an egg whisk.
I was about to say, and an egg whisk, yeah.
But none of the murders were ever at the top of stairs.
Depends on which doctor you're
Yeah.
pulling the Daleks from. Because if anybody will remember anything, it's levitate.
That was a technology the Daleks picked up later. There's like a before the modern
From
era.
World War II.
It was in
Nah.
the 20th anniversary episode with Sylvester McCoy as a doctor.
Yes.
I remember watching it on TV.
And
thinking,
there was like kind of an oh fuck moment. We can't take advantage of that anymore because there was like this moment back in the Tom Baker years in Genesis of the Daleks where the Doctor climbs up a rope and then he looks down at the Dalek and it's like, if you're supposed to be the superior life forms of the universe, then try climbing up here after us. Ta-ta.
Genesis of the Daleks was such a fucking amazing episode.
Oh yes, it's so. Oh, I so love the Tom Baker years.
Yes. Anyway, before we get distracted on that, because, Doctor Who's amazing. Or used to be. Not so much fun of remakes, reboot, I don't know. But anyway. Any other questions? Anything else? Or should I go straight to World of Darkness in general news?
Yeah, I would just go to the news.
All right.
Since that'll open a whole new can of worms.
Oh, yeah, because, yeah. So, first of all, the most important thing, Thursday, 27th, over on twitch.tv/Vancouver by Night, 6 p.m. PDT, the next part of No Kindred Hungry. Vancouver by Night, I believe, is storytelling this one himself. It's a charity stream for No Kid Hungry.
Oh, that's actually really early in the day.
Some really big names from VTM streaming community are on there. Do watch that. Right, seriously. Watch that. And if you can, donate, because it's a good cause. Ideally, do both, but at least watch it. Now we've got the bad news. Bloodlines 2 is going to be a great big pile of shite. I mean, have fired Brian Mitsoda and someone whose name I can't pronounce. They literally have, these people have been on since the conception of the game 5 years ago, with Brian Mitsoda actually having character ideas and story ideas laid out physically in his apartment or wherever he was living at the time, before the game had even entered even production. They were fired yesterday, and they've hired someone who specializes in shipping games, whose list of credits include Far Cry, Warhammer 40,000 Dawn of War 3, and other titles. So seriously consider possibly cancelling your pre-order, like I am.
Yes, Fastcart fired because they announced that they were fired out of the blue with no warning.
I can understand their point, Hardsuit and Paradox's point of, we need to get this game out. But, I mean, Bloodlines 1, we need to get this game out. Big regret.
So, here's something else that's a little concerning that I found. This is apparently, this is a piece of his statement Brian Mitsoda said, is, and I quote, "I was not part of the conversations that led to the decision to delay production. And to my knowledge, there were no delays caused by the Bloodlines 2 narrative development. I am confident and proud of the work that I and my team put forward. When that work will be seen and what form it will take is unknown to me." So, if he wasn't aware of the most recent delay until after it happened, I wonder if maybe they're like, oh, we have issues with maybe with the story, or maybe they just want to make the story more politically correct or less edgy or controversial or something like that. So they decided to delay the game, fire the writing staff, and then neuter the story. I'm not
could. Yeah.
sure.
Are you going to cancel your
We don't
pre-order,
wanna-
Noscavian?
I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
one of the things that I was most excited about Bloodlines 2 was because they had brought some of the original people behind Bloodlines 1. And to be frank, Bloodlines 1's combat was shit. The good thing about Bloodlines 1 was the story. Like, I loved Bloodlines 1 for the story. And some of my favorite parts were directly either written by or had parts by Brian Mitsoda. Like, his stuff was awesome. So I was super excited to have him involved from inception with Bloodlines 5. Hearing he's fired, it really scares me for the story of the game.
Right, but can I just put in there though, just because he was fired doesn't mean they're redoing the whole game, right? So the stuff that a lot of those guys had their hand involved in is still there. They're at a point later in production where they're doing refinements. Who knows what happened? There's always three sides to a story. Yours, theirs, and the truth. Okay? So we as consumers can sit back and be bummed because, yeah, one of your favorite writers for this franchise got fired from the franchise. But we probably could say 95% of the dev work is done, right? They maybe they decided, like, one of those things was the story's just too bloated. We need to cut back. And they're just like, no, so maybe there'll be less stuff that he has written. We will never know. That's the big thing. This is the stuff I learned being in game dev at the moment. Loose game dev. But it's not like they're starting over. So don't be too bummed about that, because I do think that you're still going to see a lot of stuff in there that you may recognize and be like, that's something he wrote, So don't be too bummed. Yeah. I mean, it sucks,
You-
but it could have been worse. It could have been 2 years ago we got fired.
You're right. You do bring up a good point. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but last we heard, I think Shiv was talking about this, is that they said they were kind of in the polishing stages, right? Yeah, so last we heard they were in the polishing stages. Since Brian wasn't involved in the discussions that delayed the game, perhaps it was whatever animation or polishing or whatever groups were involved in that polishing that needed the delay. And Paradox was like, okay, we'll give you this delay for polish. The story's done. We're not developing the story anymore. It doesn't make financial sense for us to keep a lot of the higher paid people on the story team on payroll, because if we're going to delay this by a year and the story is done, why are we going to pay them for a year for the animators to polish that? And it's a known fact that when a game is launched, a massive portion of a dev team is cut, just because that's how the industry
And
works.
writers don't maintain jobs during the development of a game. Like Star Citizen, as an example, is a very rare case. A lot of writers, there are some very vocal ones that wrote for like Gears of War. They're contracted in. They're brought in, write the story, write the quest lines, and then you're gone. That's just their contract,
Same thing with concept artists.
Yeah, a lot of concept artists. I mean, Jay Lee was started out as a concept. He wasn't brought on full time. So I wonder how many concept artists they have that are just straight up contracted. You know,
Fair, true. That's why I think that's probably why Noscavi and I are both not immediately cancelling our pre-orders and are like, rather than just cancel.
They just came out a month ago, maybe a little longer, and introduced another beloved character from Bloodlines that's coming back. You know, the Bruja. So
I mean, beloved is an exaggeration.
Well, but I say like
recognized.
Beloved, you know what I mean? Yeah, but I'm just when I say okay, yeah. It's beloved because it's a part of lore. You may not like them, but it still adds depth, right? So it's still a nod back to the original story. Like who knows what else they have? They probably haven't showed everything, but yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of warning signs if you want to be particularly picky about it. The things that they've shown are very few and far in between. We haven't seen any new gameplay whatsoever since that really jank demo. Okay. That doesn't mean anything, maybe. Okay. The animations that are in there, well, they're not great, but the animation doesn't make a game, so that's alright, I guess. We don't really know much about the story, but okay, that's alright at this point. Okay. We haven't got a definite release date. Okay, fine. And then today, we fired Brian Mitsoda, who we know you love, and we made a big thing about. Okay, this is getting really worrying now.
The one thing that can be said, though, like CD Projekt Red has a very good rapport with consumers, right? So does Paradox. Okay, as a publisher, Paradox Interactive has a very good rapport with the people that play their game. A lot of their stuff is 4X. This is something brand new for them. So, yeah, and we've seen it before where people try to dip their toe into something they're not used to making and they completely botch it. But I find it hard to believe that they'll rush it to the point to compare it like Bloodlines 1, where we've got to get it out. We've got to get it out. I think just at some point, and I'll bring up Star Citizen again, at some point, sometimes you need somebody to come in there and just be like, stop with the fucking bloat. Stop with all the bullshit. True. Stop adding stuff. Just stop. We have to get the game out in that sense. Not we need to rush it out. Not everything's done. Just
and you are quite right to say, Brian Mitsoda was a writer. At this point, if they are still writing the story, there is something drastically wrong.
Yeah.
And as Noscavian says, you do let staff go at different points of development.
So that would be my guess on what happened. Again, I think there was bloat involved in the writing process, and they needed to trim it back, and he probably didn't agree with it. And so, usually, what happens if you don't agree with your boss, you get fired.
Well, we haven't fired you yet. I kid because I love.
Well, never know.
Maybe it'll be like the Star Wars Droid Factory from Next Steel Republic.
Yeah, I mean, even with the original Bloodlines, the unofficial patch is restoring, content that was never put in, and they say this one's going to be more moddable.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to Bloodlines 2 mods.
Are you though? Are we now? Nervously.
Let's see, how many years has it been? It's been 16 years.
84 years. The old lady from the side.
Years.
I'm gonna learn how to mod just so I can mod our characters into the game so we can play as ourselves. And then because I'm not big into RPG games, so I'm probably not gonna get this game. I'm happy that you guys are excited. Mostly, you're kind of disappointed now, but I'm probably not.
One of the big worries now that I think about it is the person they've got in to ship the game, who specializes in shipping games, has never worked on an RPG.
Far Cry. Far Cry is an RPG.
No, Far Cry is not an RPG. No, Far Cry is not an RPG. It's an action game. Very different styles.
It's a far cry from an RPG.
I mean, for the most recent ones, it has had RPG elements in it.
That's fine, but VTM is an RPG.
Yeah, no, Far Cry is classified as an action adventure.
Okay,
that is very much an action adventure.
Very, very light in RPG element.
Like Far Cry has RPG elements in that you customize your character, whereas VTM is a very dialogue and choice driven game.
Gotcha.
That's the big difference.
You get no choices in Far Cry.
Storm, it is an FPS.
You can have some storyline choices, but they're still very linear. They kind of
yeah.
It's those illusion of choice ones where it's like, do you yes or no? No. What's happening anyway? Yes, good, because it's happening.
Difference would be, I suppose, Witcher 2 as an RPG. You can literally miss 50% of content if you go to a different place at a certain juncture. And then you have a replay and you can go to an entirely different place. Whereas
you also level your character a specific way.
Yeah.
My brain doesn't do well with RPGs. I get stuck. I spend way too much time doing everything else that I'm not supposed to be doing.
Whereas a shooter just gives you that illusion of choice. It's like, do you want to go here or do you want to go there? Oh, something's happened and you're going to go there. Oh, okay.
In actual good news for Shiver and some other people in the vein of ARPGs and TTRPGs, we got a release date for early access for Baldur's Gate 3 today.
So, who is working on it?
It's not my bag.
Larian Studios, the same people that did Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2.
Okay.
So September 30th, it'll be the same. Beautiful. My kid has become gothic today. Her nails are black. It's releasing the same way Divinity Original Sin 2 did, so I think it's just only gonna have the first 2 acts. But if you look online, they had a stream today actually with Chris Perkins from Wizards of the Coast. It was pretty cool. But the reason I say Shiver might like it too, early access is only going to be available through Steam and Stadia.
I know a lot of people are excited about Baldur's Gate because I know that it's popular. I still have no idea about gameplay or anything about that game because all I remember is that entirely CGI trailer that they released with the Mind Flayer.
And then they did gameplay today too, where they actually tried to make some different choices It was the same gameplay as before, but opposite choices. You got to see different.
Yeah, I might have to check that out.
Is it like old school isometric CRPG style? Okay.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Oh.
it's Divinity Original Sin. If you've ever played it, it's going to be Divinity Original Sin, but Baldur's Gate 3, and it's piggybacking off of the newest Wizards of the Coast book, Descent into Avernus. We found
I was thinking about Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, old school isometric Western character RPG.
The closest I've got to liking those sort of games is Dragon Age Origins. Love Dragon Age Origins.
I'm just curious because of the fact that a lot of people are like, oh, Baldur's Gate's the best version of D&D, the video game we're ever going to get, kind of thing. So whenever people make that argument, I always want to check it out because I'm like, how do you translate a tabletop RPG into a video game with as much improv as you have to do with TTRPGs? So that's why I'm probably not going to get it still, but I'm curious on what it looks like.
Oh, but Larian is also another company when it comes to AARPGs that is starting to become very beloved because they do very well. Very well.
Like
very
and wasn't the original Divinity kickstarted? Like I think that was a Kickstarter project, and it was a huge success. Divinity Original Sin 2 is critically acclaimed, and I think it was their the way they what's the word I'm looking for? Like the way they did Divinity and Divinity 2, their expertise with it is pretty much what got them when they I forget if Wizards approached them or if they approached Wizards, but that they
bid it out. Basically, people were being like, "Let us make this game for you," and Wizards chose them.
Yeah. So yeah, I think they're the best choice for Baldur's Gate 3. Also, side note, me personally, I'm really excited for Baldur's Gate 3 because I think this is the first time that I can think of that my favorite D&D race has been included in a game. The Gith. No, the Gith. I'm a big fan of the Gith, but they've never really been a player race. So, very short synopsis. The Gith are divided amongst the Gith Yankee and the Gith Zerai. They used to be enslaved by the Mind Flayers. They rebelled and overthrew them, and due to ideological differences, they kind of separated.
You got it?
I can go into more of it later, but not super related.
Yeah, it's just I've researched quite a bit of D&D races, but Gith just doesn't spring to mind. But do they look like the Mind Flayers, like Cthulhu?
So do you remember the greenish looking woman in the cinematics? I mean,
I'd have to go rewatch it.
She may have looked like an orc, but she wasn't.
Oh, okay. I'd have to go rewatch it. Okay, that's cool.
An orc that's not an orc, isn't that called a fork?
Sure.
A faux orc.
Oh, like a faux orc. Yep.
So, anything else anyone wants to bring up? Anything anyone wants to promote? Do you want to promote? Well, I suppose we'll get to that. Tomorrow, we're doing a Grounded stream. We're actually going to play a different game that's completely unrelated to anything ever. We're playing Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the video game.
But it's still going to be Table of Horrors because Tina and I are playing and we're both afraid of spiders.
Tabby, you're playing, aren't you?
Yep, I picked up the game. I need to create a Xbox Live account, apparently.
4 of us playing?
Yeah, there's 4 of us playing.
But it's a survival crafting game. I'm pretty good at those, so it should be fun.
Playing will be myself, Tina, Nitro, and you, Tabby. Everyone who's part of Table of Horrors is welcome to come on, come on the stream with us and laugh at us and take the piss and just generally chat as well. You're also welcome to just not if you want. It's entirely your choice. If you want to come in and just talk
Just
to us while we play, that's
Yeah.
fine. If you want to take the piss out of us in the chat box, that's fine. Whatever you like.
Yeah, that's the one downside with the game is it's limited to 4 players.
But no, that's a horrible joke. Don't
Storm,
make that joke.
same time as every other show that we make. So
Give me that
23:30 UTC.
Yep. Friday, 23:30 UTC is London's Burning, where we have special guest and Ripper reveal.
Dun, dun, dun.
Well, you say reveal. The entire game's going to go by. And then in our post-game talk, you're going to be like, so did you get that was the Ripper, right? And we're like, what? It was?
No, you're going to know. You're going to know. If you don't know that was the Ripper, then it's like, Jesus Christ, how do you tie your shoelaces in the morning?
I don't.
That makes
I
sense.
use Velcro shoes. No, not really.
Isaac would. Isaac would use Velcro.
I have zips
You know
on my
what? He
boots.
might have slippers.
Isaac,
he
Isaac's
probably
the
has
kind
shoes.
of person. Isaac's the person to me that wears socks and sandals.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
give me that
doesn't
vibe.
wear sandals, but if he would, yes.
We also
I have,
might find out if it's infected or not.
I have boots with buckles and zips.
That's actually more like what Ricky had. I need to give you like images for Ricky outfits.
Yes.
So next
Um,
week he's starting in a different outfit to make an impression. So that'll be interesting.
Storm went down the same road I went down thought wise. Is I'm picturing an entire interaction where Amon's just like, "Hey Isaac, I got you some Crocs," and
call
Isaac's
them
just like,
gators.
"Oh man,
Or
these are so comfortable, but they look nothing like alligators."
What was that, Tina?
I said Xavier would probably wear socks with sandals. Like
Oh.
the little time that he'd be out of his combat boots, like to go pick up the paper or what the fuck ever, he'd just be like, "Fuck it!" Like,
Yeah, I kind of always forget that underneath his tough exterior, Xavier is just a dad.
We do have Baldur's Gate, by the way, in our game, but it's called Rock Fence. Saturday is Star Trek Adventures with the USS Pendragon. That's going to be an interesting one. Better be interesting.
all new control.
We've got buttons now.
Yeah. I don't have to piss around with too many sound effects now because now they do it, and then if they overdo it, I kill them.
It made
They're gonna
cool
rip
noise click.
While
I've
you're
got
all
tools.
That is also at 23:30 UTC, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
while
All
you're
here,
all sleeping
all
in your
23:30.
quarters-
Sorry, Noskavian, go ahead.
Oh, you're good. While you're all sleeping in your quarters, that one person who hit the button too many times, there's a hull breach in your window. You're sucked out into the vacuum of space.
Blown.
Jokes on Shiv.
Oh,
Jokes on Shiv. I'm an android. I can survive in the vacuum.
Conversely, jokes on Shiv. I'm professional at EVA.
That's also
But
true.
you wouldn't have a normal suit on.
That. Okay.
No
That's where
joke,
you're wrong,
can't
because
go down
he
VA.
sleeps in an environmental suit.
No, I'm talking about Joker.
Nitro survives in the vacuum of space as the starship flies away. Don't worry, they'll remember me. They'll come back. I know that.
I'll just
well.
thumb it home.
No, what's funny is I would just have an entire episode like in Futurama where Bender's left floating in space and he has like a little like village that starts on his body.
That'd be
Such a
amazing.
good episode.
Mhm.
And of course, it's not in 7 days' time. It's 7 days for me, but it's in 8 days for Western Hemisphere for twitch.tv/Vancouver by night, 6 p.m. PDT, the next part of No Kindred Hungry, which is a Sabat story with V5 rules, and all proceeds go to No Kid Hungry. Tune in for that.
I think I'm gonna start Bloodlines first week of September.
First week of September. Yeah, we're going to be doing that. We're going to split burning questions down the center ish, and be like, first half burning questions as per normal, and then right on after that is we'll do a let's play of the decent Bloodlines. Testicular Tina, where can we find you outside of here?
Right now, mainly the Discord. Got some big stuff being announced this week for the startup company with, so
Excellent.
like maybe a website.
Ooh.
Ooh.
With other
Turntable
things on.
Tavi, where can we
Hi.
find you outside of here?
I think the notorious Nitro Typat may have provided me with a command for hello. He did. They're on those links in chat. Twitter.com/TaviWolf, Twitch.tv/TaviTheWolfus. I've been doing a lot more streaming with, I guess, my family group lately here on Table of Horrors. I really should do more of my own streams. I streamed an indie game, I think, last night. I've got some stuff planned, but it needs work.
Okay. The garrotting groundhog.
Is that a word?
Might be.
It
is now.
Yeah.
It
It
is.
would be to garrot someone.
To kill by strangulation.
That's-
Nice.
That's why I did this.
Wait, is that Rhapsody's new brawl weapon? A garrote?
No,
Oh, fuck, I spelled
No.
it wrong.
Oh.
No, it's a fashion piece. It's an iron collar that you normally would use to choke somebody, but she's like, no, pretty.
Don't need to breathe. I can
Thank you,
have
Groundhog.
that. Where can we find you
Steal
outside
your
of here,
voice
Groundhog?
choker.
I'm on the Discord down below. I'm on Twitter and on Twitch. I occasionally stream Morrowind and a few other different games. I have different plans for that, but never get around to fulfilling them. And the links were just put in the chat.
Fun. The noxious Nitro Typat.
I'm trying to stream more often, which also means that I'm trying to help Shiv do more cool stuff on Table of Horrors, which was the idea to do Grounded was Shiv's idea, but I'm helping distribute it. But I'm trying to stream more often over on my Twitch channel. And I retweet funny, cute animal and memes and stuff on my Twitter. So go follow me there.
Excellent. And last but not least, the nudist Noscavian. Where can we find you outside of here?
Discord?
It's good enough for me.
Yeah,
You
when I had
can
to-
pretty much find
when
me
I had-
here or Discord.
Yeah, when I had to make a command for Isaac, I just put find him at our Discord, and I linked the Discord.
Fair. Tina,
You
what's
asked
your
me already.
OnlyFans page?
Oh, I'm not doing that.
Fair enough.
But you could pay people, or people could pay you to keep your clothes on.
I don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of those.
Okay.
You just do your
There are-
weekly
there are
post. You're like,
actually
guys,
people now
we're
who
in
make
pants
OnlyFans.
today.
Sorry. There are actually people now who make OnlyFans pages for work purposes.
I mean,
Mhm.
I've had groupies. I don't need more.
There's celebrities that are making OnlyFans, but not for the typical content you see on there.
Hmm.
What's the point then?
don't
It
know.
has actually started some controversy, but that's not something to get into right here now because it would be a whole
No.
thing.
Yeah. Noscavian.
Yes.
What was the name of that D&D stream that you recommended us last week? Because I think they're streaming again.
Oh. It's Sunken Worlds, but I don't think they are I think they ended early today. Yeah,
a
Sunken
shame.
World Saga, but they're not streaming at the moment.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Have we got anyone to raid?
I had Twitch closed. Hold on.
I see no one to raid.
The Onyx Path, but they might have raiding disabled.
We can raid one of the VTM people.
Onyx Path might
Yeah.
do. I don't see anyone else on.
I have 5 streams going on VTM.
Oh, really? Who?
No,
Who?
one of us is us.
Oh.
Yeah, well, yeah, but still, Rin Vendor, RINVINDOR.
Oh, we've got him or her, I forget, on auto host. So yeah, that makes sense.
It's a him. Looks like
Mhm.
in a little box.
Okay, Rin Vendor. Ah, yep. All right, we'll go raiding on Rin Vendor. Thank you all for coming. We'll see you tomorrow, or the day after, or the day after that. Live long and prosper. Someone say the line.
Fuck spiders. I mean, have a good night.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.